Session is now 6:02, and there's nothing to report out on our closed session. So next thing is this meeting is recorded for live streaming and archiving on our district YouTube channel. Would you guys lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as written, please?
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, President Seda.
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs.
Yes.
Trustee Moss.
Yes.
Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our highlight coming up here, and I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Wright.
All right, good evening. At this time, I'd like to introduce our principal of Benicia Middle School, Mr. Mark Nelson, to introduce the BMS recycling program.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Good evening, and thank you, Board of Trustees, for having us here tonight. My name is Mark Nelson, the principal of Benicia Middle School, and we have some very special guests with us tonight. Standing behind me are Jordan, Jake, and Miranda from our E9 class, and they have been leading some recycling efforts on campus this year. And so, without further ado, I will hand it over to them.
Good evening, Dr. Wright, Dr. Beatson, and executive board members. My name is Miranda, and I'm here with Jake and Jordan. Tonight, we would like to tell you about our recycling program that we started at BMS.
Last year, we learned about how pollution impacts natural resources. Recycling is one of the ways we can protect our natural resources, like our land and our water, for our future. This is a mural we made last year with reusable items. We included fun facts about recycling on our board. If you're ever at BMS, come by E9 and check us out.
We took a field trip to Recology to learn how materials are sorted for recycling. On our field trip, we learned that a lot of materials that ends up at Recology are not recyclable materials. It is up to us to change this.
We looked around BMS to see how our recycling efforts were and noticed that our school was not recycling at all. We wanted to put a change into this, and this is when we came up with the recycling goal to help improve our school.
We noticed that many of the bins in classrooms are being used as trash cans. Also, we noticed that even though some classrooms were recycling, it was all being put into the trash. Our first goal was to get a blue recycling bin in each classroom in each office space. We came up with a plan, and we met up with Mr. Nelson to only recycle paper.
Because recycling paper is new for BMS, all the students in my classroom made posters of what type of material could be thrown or dropped in the blue recycling bins. These posters are now attached to each bin found at BMS. Our Viking TV program also made announcements to get the word out about the new recycling paper program.
Each Wednesday during advisory class and the students, each Wednesday during advisory hour class and the students from the RISE program collect the recycled paper from each classroom. Since the beginning of this project, we have seen more paper being recycled each week. We are now including recycling water bottles and cans from the classrooms.
Besides our recycling program, we've also been doing some community cleanup. So far, we have done 3. We've picked up trash on our way walking to the 9th Street Park, Raleigh Shopping Center, and Benicia State Park. We've also been very disappointed that the littering in our community, but we feel good about cleaning it up so we can stop pollution. It's also been nice to see people thank us for the job we are doing. We want to give a major shout out to the maintenance departments for always meeting us up and collecting our trash. Thank you, Mr. Ronnie.
As Jordan mentioned, it feels good that we are out helping our community. We'll be doing another community cleanup on March 28th. If any of you would like to join us, please let our teacher, Mrs. Ramirez, know. We'll be leaving BMS at 12:15 and walking towards the Raleigh Shopping Center since so many of our students walking this route before and after school.
We're proud of the work we are doing to get a recycling program going at BMS. Our next goals for BMS recycling program are to get larger recycling bins around the campus for students when they are at brunch and lunch. And we also want to see a station to recycle and compost items from brunch and lunch.
Although 2 of us will be leaving BMS this year, we hope that our recycling program continues and grows. We want to return to BMS as seniors in high school to see the legacy that we are leaving behind. We know how important recycling is for our future generation.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity tonight to share our recycling program with you. And don't forget to reduce, to reuse, and mostly recycle your waste.
Miss Bonnie Ramirez, please step to the mic.
Hello.
We
Good
weren't going to
evening.
let you slide out of here. No, we just want to thank you for all that you do.
Yes.
You open up your classroom, you invite staff to come in and play skunk with your students. Highlight of my day. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you
And
for
you
coming in.
And you should be very proud of what your students are doing with this
Yeah.
recycling program. And I just want to thank you for leading them in this effort.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Nice.
Excellent job. And I'm going to have Dr. Wright. Oh, let's do a picture.
Are they gonna come up here? Yeah, let's just stay here. That's the point. Yes, please.
All right, and again, I'm going to have Dr. Wright do our second highlight for tonight. Thank you.
All right. Principal Miss Brianna Kleinschmidt. She's here to introduce the Benicia High boys basketball team.
All right, I'm going to be brief because the highlight is definitely about the team and the coaches and not me at all. I am beyond proud to introduce Coach Carter and the varsity boys basketball team, our North Coast section champions for the first time in 40 years.
Thank you all. Thank you all. I want to say that it was a tough year, but I'm so proud of these kids. So, and they always say Coach Carter, but it's my staff. It's Paul, JJ. I mean, they've been with me through the thick and thin. And without the support of our administration here, Brianna, and all and when we go to away games, we seen you guys there. We had more fans than the other visiting team. So I want to applaud you guys for coming to support us too. For me, it's about raising these young men to be a representation of Benicia, and they've done that. They all have good grades. Every senior got some place to play. Every senior. every one of my seniors.
Nice.
Yeah, every one of my seniors. These young men have showed tremendous heart. All I can say is that I'm proud of them, and it's about the best team. I mean, we were a team. Nobody scored over 12 points. It was just everybody contributed, and it just made it so much. When we're subbing, we got better. You know what I mean? Our second team would push the first team. There was no egos, and with that being said, I'm just so proud of this team. And kudos to you guys. Like I said, I just really enjoy the team, and I'm proud of you guys. And you guys make me proud. Go to the next level and show them what Benicia basketball is. Do that for me.
Nice.
With that said, I have one returner that's going to give you guys a little speech before we go. Jackton Aike.
All right. Good evening, y'all. My name is Jackton Aike. I was obviously a player for Benicia basketball team, and I mean, this season was really fun. I want to thank my teammates, my coaches, parents, and all like the fans that really believed in us this year. Because not many people believed in us this year, and from like the start of the year, we started off. We didn't really know each other a lot. We had like 3 new guys on the team, so we had to build lots of chemistry and trust each other. And as the season went on, we ended up doing something that we haven't done in 40 years, and that was winning a championship, North Coast section. So that was really special, and I love this team. I'll never take this team for granted, and I'm excited for next year, and I think we're gonna run it back. So, yeah.
Just wanted to say, after we take a picture, we have T-shirts for everybody on the team, championship T-shirts. So we'll be handing those out on the way out. Hopefully they can wear them with pride as they continue to practice around campus and town. It's been amazing to see the support from the community. I know some of the local businesses gave some gift certificates to the guys and just came out to the games. We saw some of our alumni who were on the 88-89 team who came all the way to Sacramento and to our section game. So it's just been great to see the community come together and be so proud of everybody, and they definitely deserve it. So great job, guys.
And I had an opportunity to watch the 2 playoff games, the one against St. Pat's, and then I had an opportunity to go up to Sacramento and watch the state tournament. And I just want to tell you, Coach Carter, I've known you a long time, and I just appreciate the way you coach. And what I appreciate about your team is in an era where everyone's trying to pull up from the logo and drop threes, it's none of that. You guys are playing on the defensive end, getting turnovers, playing team ball, and getting great shots. And that just represents the great coaching that you and your staff are doing. And to hear that they all have a place to play next year, it just speaks volumes. So thank you for representing our community the way that you did. I was certainly proud to be out there. And yeah, run it back next year. And not only are you being recognized here at the governing board meeting, but Senator Bill Dodd has also recognized you with this plaque as well. So let me give that to you. And thank you, Dr. Moss, for making this happen.
And I just want to say, yes, definitely on behalf of the state of California, congratulations for District 3. Senator Bill Dodd is recognizing you, and that's from the state of California. And I have to say that Coach Carter did coach my daughter, Gabriella Johnson, in the AAU games, like when she was elementary school, middle school. They did go to the championship in Los Angeles. So I know the work that Coach Carter and his team has done. So thank you again and congratulations.
All the team up for a picture, please. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. That's okay. I can look at that.
Really? We're really going to stand behind that?
You're not going to be able to see.
Yeah, what's it's all right. Not a big deal. Or not. We could also not. Go ahead. Have you guys stand
Okay.
Sides. How about sides?
Wow, that was exciting.
That was.
Go Panthers! Great job. All right, we're going to move on to our board reports, or just our reports in general. And the first up are our student reports. I'm going to ask Jackie Garcia if she would speak first. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Zeta, Superintendent Dr. Wright, fellow trustees and cabinet members. Celebrating Women's History Month, we had the League of Women Voters come and give a presentation about the importance of voting and empowering young people to be a part of our democracy. We are also planning to visit the Rosie the Riveter Museum in Point Richmond. There, we will learn more about the contribution made by those that work on the home front and the roles women played in the success of our military. Finally, in art class, we are learning about the many famous women who have contributed to the art world. Today, several students went to First Street Art Studio and saw several pieces from female artists. We have several learning through interest field trips planned in the next couple of weeks. We're going to UC Davis Anthropology Museum, the DVC Culinary Tour, and hands-on carpentry experience in Fairfield. Next week, students, along with Mr. Nelson, are partnering up with a mountain biking nonprofit group called Trips for Kids. They will hit the trails along Point Pinole. This trip will be extra special because several students are picking up their own bike. They earn these bikes by volunteering for for this organization. We hope to expand this partnership by creating Liberty's own bike repair shop. And on behalf of Liberty High School, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That sounds like an exciting bunch of stuff coming up and that you've done. Awesome. Next up, we have Jinjin Gao and also Bella Cannon from Benicia High School.
Good evening, President Zeta, Superintendent Dr. Rai, fellow trustees and cabinet members. My name is Jinjin Gao, the Senior President for Benicia High School.
And my name is Bella Cannon, the Junior Representative for Benicia High School. Last week, our great improv team performed a show that revolved around laughter. The performance was performed beautifully, and we appreciate their efforts to make these entertaining and engaging acts happen. They brought a little more individuality and fun to our school campus. This week, our 2024-2025 student government election was released and open to the whole student body to cast ballots for their grade representatives. The ballot will be closed next week on Wednesday the 20th, and results will be announced on Friday the 22nd. Additionally, the third quarter grading period ends this Friday, March 15th.
Prom tickets are currently available to purchase by students or parents via the BHS web store, and a free bus with capability of 100 students is arranged to transport both ways from Benicia High School to the prom venue. Next week is the March Madness tournament that will be held all week from March 18th to the 22nd. Finally, a special highlight to our varsity boys basketball team for making history as the first team to win the section champion since 1989. And our BHS debate team, the team of Gabriel Stockwell and Michael Delgado, earned their tickets to the California High School Speech Association States Final. We wish them the best as they represent BHS at the final or the national level. Thank you, and on behalf of Benicia High School, go Panthers.
Can I ask, you said the March Madness tournament next week. What are they all playing basketball at the high school? What is that?
So it's yes.
I know what the regular March Madness is, but I wondered specific to the high school. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, it is a tournament out
Basketball?
yeah, of basketball, and we include staff team as well.
Okay, thank you. I was
With
just
students.
I was curious. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing everything good going on at our school sites, our high school sites. At this time, you are welcome to leave unless you have a burning desire to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting. Thanks for being here. We missed you guys last week. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is our superintendent's report. Dr. Wright.
That March Madness tournament sounds like a lot of fun, but I don't know if my hamstrings are going to agree with it now. But, and I also want to thank our Rotary Club of Benicia. The debate tournament that's happening in New York, just yesterday, they approved a $1,000 donation to help students with their travel. So we'll put that on the next board agenda. It hasn't been finalized, but they did verbally agree to do that. So thank the Rotary Club of Benicia for that. Benicia, we're a small community. It's small enough that when someone sneezes on First Street, somebody's blessing you on top of Rose Drive. And you can imagine the noise within that echo chamber when grievances are played out publicly. It's more concerning, as much of the information being shared, typically on social media, is inaccurate and unsubstantiated. The educators on the receiving end of these public grievances may live in a community, many has ties to the community, and in some cases have kids in our school system watching these disagreements play out publicly. As students watch adults tussle over various media channels, they watch the very same behavior that we encourage them not to engage in with their peers. So the manner in which we as adults handle concerns matter. Please be mindful. Social media is a valuable tool. However, posting a narrative that does not include all the information, attempting to put pieces of a puzzle together with inaccurate information can be reckless. It doesn't solve the issue, but instead creates further divisiveness. So for issues regarding BUSD employees, please follow the proper protocols. We'll follow through. These are my thoughts, and I just share them out of care and concern for this community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Now it's our board reports. Would anybody, my fellow trustees, like to share anything? I don't either.
I have something that I neglected to raise last week, and it has to do with my participation on the Solano County CSBA group. And so this is a group made up of different board members in all of the Solano County. And we are in the process of choosing our next event. And there's been a decision to focus on reading and what are other districts doing to really move the needle in terms of literacy, to get kids reading by 3rd grade. We had some discussion about the Right to Read documentary that you can catch in various communities. If you go to the website, you can find out where it's airing. And I know that we may be screening it here in Benicia at the library. That's in the works. And to build off that, we are looking the SCSBA, too many acronyms. We're looking at putting together a panel to discuss what we're doing here in Benicia, and other districts will also have panelists to discuss that as well. So I wanted to let you know all of the representatives were supposed to go back to their boards and, inform and see if that would be something that is of interest. Yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
Feedback back.
Yeah,
Yes, for my next
absolutely.
meeting. Okay, good. I think it'll be really interesting.
That's our goal, to get these kiddos,
Yeah.
Reading by the level at 3rd grade. So
Exactly.
It's great that they're putting that forward.
Definitely. And you learn so much from what other districts are doing, and it's great to collaborate across the county.
It is. Thanks for being on that.
Sure, my
team.
pleasure.
All right. It seems that we're going to move on from this point to comments from members of the public. Members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available at the entrance table. Please note the item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will then call the open session item you wish to speak, open session item to the general comments during the public comment item. Comments for items on the agenda will be called during a specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, or the board may limit it to a total time of 20 minutes per item with the timer displayed on the monitors. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. Please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. Thank you. And I see that we have nobody that's going to do public comment. Okay, we're going to move on. Thank you. Approval of the consent calendar. May I get approval of this consent calendar as written?
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
May I get a second?
I'll second.
Oh, yeah. Background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on a roll call vote unless discussion of item or items is requested by the board members. Now, can we get a roll call vote, please?
I was the first.
And may I get a second?
I will second.
And roll call, please.
So we have President Zeta,
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs.
Yes.
Trustee Moss.
Yes.
Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I also, at this point, I want to thank a couple of generous community members for their generous donations. One, Randy Villanueva, he shared $1,000 with the BHS girls soft volleyball team. And yay, thank you for that. And then also a check for $250 from Lionel Lagerspada that was going directly to the BHS debate team. So thank you for that also. All right, we have the resolution. We're going to do a separate roll call on resolution number 23-24-21. Can we get a separate roll call, please?
President Zeta.
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs.
Yes.
Trustee Moss.
Yes.
Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you. We're at the first reading of the recommended California School Board policy updates from December 2023. Dr. Wright, would you?
Yes.
Thank you.
So committee members, we had an opportunity to review the CSBA quarterly updates. These are the mandatory policy changes which reflect changes in the law, and also some recommendations by CSBA. They're attached. We're going to place them on the April 18th agenda. So please review them, and should you have questions, we'll be happy to meet with you and resolve any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
All right, next are our action items. First up is the governing board review and award of the federal E-rate bid for network electronics to the lowest qualified bidder. And Mr. Rahill and Mr. Is it Lambert? Is he here? Oh, hey. Hi. I didn't see you hiding back there. They're going to tee this one up. Thank you.
So much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and present it. If we have any questions for Mr. Lambert, we'll call him up. But it says for your action tonight to award this federal E-rate bid. It's for network electronics backup power for our district office data center. And we do this in accordance with the federal electronic rate or E-rate requirements. The lowest qualified bidder is Gigacom in the amount of $22,941.94. One of the nice features of going through this process is once this gets awarded and processed, we then file that with the federal government to get a reimbursement of about 50% of that cost.
And so our recommendation is to approve and award this federal E-rate bid for network electronics to the lowest bidder, Gigacom, for that $22,941.94.
Thank you. Do any of my fellow trustees have any questions regarding this? No? Okay, then can we make get a motion to approve or, yeah, to award the uh, the E-rate bid for network electronics to the lowest bidder, Gigacom, in the amount of $22,941.94.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Moss? Yes. Trustee Maselli stepped away, so Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is a governing board review and approval of our 23-24 second interim financial report for the Benicia Unified School District. Mr. Rahill, you're up again.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah, we also have this item for your action tonight to review and approve this 23-24 second interim financial report being presented to you here in March. We had the first interim report in December, and so things are on track, and there are a couple changes to note along the way as we talk through here. We are providing this using the information from the state approved budget and current information being provided by the state. Our interim report does provide for the state's 3% reserve and also the additional board policy reserve. And so we are providing this report to you with the positive certification for the 23-24 second interim financial report. And so we have a series of slides that you've seen with our previous financial reports updated with current information. On our first tab page here is many key fiscal factors that we use, as do all other school districts in California. And we're just reminded of our known salary costs with our employees that move on our salary schedules and related increases in the retirement system pension costs. And from time to time, there's also some changes in workers' comp and unemployment. We also take a look at our revenues and our other revenues and expenditures. And as we are spending down our one-time funds, you can see that in that next section, we are reporting those expenditures according to our 3-year plan. We will continue to work with all of our programs, including our special ed department, and monitor that closely. It's a little bit early as we talk with our regional Solano County special ed group. We have a meeting, I believe, next Wednesday. So we will start to get a little bit more information and see what types of changes that they're proposing for Benicia and other school districts in Solano County. So we don't have that information at this point in time to include in our second interim report, but it will be here for the estimated actuals that you'll get towards the end of the year. We also consider the factors that drive our main revenue source, the local control funding formula, the LCFF, which is based off of, and we get funded off of the students attending, the average daily attendance, the ADA, and that is driven by our enrollment, which is relatively flat over the years if you scan across the columns. And basically, it's important to note that it is relatively flat, but it's really because we're getting more 4-year-olds enrolling in our TK classes as we phase in the transitional kindergarten, the TK for all 4-year-olds. We're getting 4-year-olds coming into our school district, which is kind of masking the decline we have at K-12. But overall, it's relatively flat in the big scheme of things. And we are also monitoring how our funded ADA is changing and taking advantage of the best option that we have for that. We also, as our enrollment changes, we look at our staffing and make some adjustments accordingly with that. Down in number 5, there's a box highlighted in pink, if you can see that. I would say that's one of the biggest changes that we have here in our second interim report. when Governor Newsom came out in January and gave his budget proposal for next year in 24-25. Prior to this, it was close to 4%. And it was 3.94%. And based on what's going on at the state, that got reduced to less than 1%. And so our cost of living adjustment right now, according to the governor for 24-25, is 0.76%. So they're still crunching numbers at the state. It's March, April, in May, the governor comes back with his May revise, and we'll see if there's any positive or negative adjustments to what he's proposing for 24-25. So we will continue to monitor that on the next slide. This is just an cumulative tracking of our increased pension costs, which have really been increasing since 2014-15. So for about 10 years now, school districts like Benicia have been required to put more into the retirement systems so that they can have enough funding to pay for the pensions when folks retire. In the certificated STIR side, that has kind of stabilized. This year was no increase in the rate, and it's not projected to increase, but there is still some increases on the classified PERS side. So we want to make sure we continue to monitor that. Our revenues in the budget is $61.4 million. The majority of that is our LCFF funds that come from the state based on our kids attending school. So just over 80% we get from our students attending school. The next slide, we're going to we put this slide in. It was new with the 23-24 packet to monitor our special ed revenues. As I said earlier, next week we go to the county, and we'll probably start to hear about what they're projecting. Hopefully, we will not see that type of reduction for 24-25.
Mr. Rayhill, can I ask you a quick question? I know we get our special ed funding from the county. Does what the county have, does it depend on the state budget?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have a base amount as well with special ed funds, and then sometimes it's the same cost of living allowance as the LCFF. Sometimes it's different. I believe at the current time it's the same COLA as LCFF, but we'll find out more next week, I think.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. And then our next series of pie charts go into our expenditures at 67.1 million, which is more than our revenues, and that's okay because we have our carryover amounts, the funds that we have carried over from prior years that didn't get spent from those years, and we are providing for those here. Our salary and benefits are amounting to about 87% of our budget. So we provide the services with our employed staff, and the other 13% is for our supplies and services and all of the other support things that we need. We have the next series of tabs, which is our staffing. That is for about the last 6 years. We're about 477 full-time equivalencies. So some of those folks are part-time, so we actually have more bodies. But if you equate them to one FTE, we have about 477. And there really hasn't been much change in this since December. So we'll go ahead and skip ahead. But yes.
Why, looking back from 18-19, we're a declining enrollment district, but yet we've gone up 47 people, 47 FTEs. It looks mostly classified and other funding, but you'd think with attrition, I mean, what we did this year was a very good idea, the early retirement thing, but it's like when you're declining enrollment, but yet you're increasing the amount of employees you have.
You bring up a great point because, and I think that's a benefit of having this in here, and maybe we can make a notation because what was special about the 21-22 year is when this district, like others, got all of that COVID funding which became the incentive funding. And our district, like others, we decided to use that for staffing, even though it was one time.
Right.
So we invested in that. We're using the LCAP. We have that rolling 3-year plan. And now that we're coming to the end of those funds over the next couple years, you might
start
see
drawing
that
down, yeah.
dropping down.
Have to.
So, yeah. Yes. So if we go to the next pie chart, again, all the detail is in there for all the different positions. And we'll scroll over. And we have a series of pie charts for our expenditures. The first one is for our employee benefits. And here we have our retirement systems for all of our staff, Social Security and Medicare, which makes up not quite 2/3. And then the other big part, about 1/4 of it, is for our health benefits. I'm going to let you know, and we can go through pie chart by pie chart, which is we have our supplies and our services, and we kind of peel the onion so that you get down, especially into the services. Each pie chart shows you how we're allocating our budget for all the different types of funding. And so would you like me to bring that up on the page? It's pretty similar to what we had last time, or we can kind of jump ahead.
It's the same as last time.
Yeah, nothing. No, we're good.
So we have all of those pie charts in there. We'll continue to include them because I think it's good detail that tells the story a little bit better on how those detailed line items are being spent. And if we go to, it's page 17, it's a tab that talks about our fund balance. And let's see, it's about 6 or 7 over to the right. And after we, in our second interim report, what we're projecting at the end of the school year is $13.7 million. And it is fund balance. It's after the program services. And yeah, before the reserve. Maybe you can just click on them and then I'll, yep, there you go.
There you go.
Thank you. So on this page, kind of what we're projecting to end the 23-24 school year with our 3% reserve and our reserve for the board policy, some one-time funds. We have, in accordance with our previous board meetings, we have that commitment, $1,725,000. Conversations about our books and supplemental materials, needing funding for that over the next 3 years due to adoptions. And so we will be tapping into that $1,725,000. At this point, it would be about over 3 years, so about a third. Dr. Beatson said today it might be not quite that, but overall it would add up to the $1,725,000, depending on when adoptions are needed. And the restricted program, we are continuing to tap into that for the LCAP and the rolling plan that we have with that as well. The next slide or the next tab shows the detail for those different restricted programs. And we, in this board packet, continue to keep kind of some major programs in regards to technology and what our technology needs are over the years, investing in both student and staff computers, as well as the backbone of the networks. We have another 5-year plan on the next slide for curriculum, which shows all the different subject matters and the significant costs associated with buying books and augmented materials for all of our different programs and subject matter. And so you kind of spread that over a year. You can only do so much in 1 year. And that will be coming up. Probably you'll be hearing about that in a future board meeting about the adoptions. Coming up next year. Cool.
Great. Dr. Beatson, could you explain what's in that supplemental K-12 $400,000?
Sure. Thanks for asking. So we adopt major curriculum But then in addition, we purchase some additional components to those curriculum for teachers. So it might be in our intervention curriculum that we purchase. It will be add-ons that teachers use to enhance their lessons. So some of it's digital. So those types of things. It's the online programs that we will use to support students in the classroom if that need extra support in math or ELA. It's called Imagine Learning. So those types of things. We have our adopted core curriculum, and then these are the kind of district purchased additional components for teachers to use for intervention, extension, or enhancement of their curriculum.
And would special ed curriculum?
Some special ed curriculum would be in that as well, if it's in addition to the core curriculum, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, and our next tab has our plan for bond and state facility projects. And I think I'll take a moment to say how wonderful it is that the community supported the Benicia schools, the Measure C. And I need to ask because I don't know if I've actually seen the official results from the county registrar. They might need to come out, but it is looking very positive that that Measure C has passed, which will provide $122.5 million for this district to continue building school facilities for our district for quite a while here. So we're very fortunate. This slide can be updated next time with that information. And so just wanted to really take a moment to share our appreciation to the whole community for providing that and let them know that we're doing the best with that money. We're going to the state with that to get any kind of matching funds so that we don't have to bear the burden of the school facility costs just within our community. We'll tap into the state and try to get funds from them to help us along the way as well.
Right, and I think I remember from the governor's report that he's proposed deferring this TK facilities funds or all facilities funds, one of the two. Yeah.
It's TK as we operate the programs for 4-year-olds and TK, transitional kindergarten. We have to find housing for them. And at this point, we've gotten $0 from the state to provide facilities for these new TK classrooms for the 4-year-olds. So we're having to tap into bond funds and other facility funds to make that happen. Keeping track of it so that when the TK facility funds become available, we can file the paperwork and get reimbursed from the state.
Great.
Nice.
Has it ever happened that the state defers funds and then just doesn't pay? Just says, we're not paying you for facilities, TK facilities.
There's been some history, I guess, with the Great Recession back in the early 2010s, 11s, when it was so bad that there was mid-year takebacks. It was more on the operational side, though. I'm not really remembering an example of when it was the facilities. It's possible with the TK proposal for facilities that until it actually gets allocated and you have the cash in the bank, anything can happen. So, but all we can do is keep our paperwork together and get everything ready to file immediately when we're able to. So that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
The last 5-year plan we have in here on the next tab is for our deferred maintenance. And this will definitely change too, because as we have a bond and as we're improving our facilities, it does reduce the need for some of these deferred maintenance projects. So that is a positive impact on the maintenance side of the house. So kind of to wrap up here with just a couple more slides is we have our deficit that you can see that we're spending basically because we have been carrying over these one-time funds and operating that. You'll hear at a future meeting about our LCAP and how we'll be proposing to use those over probably now a 2-year period as those get spent down. What we did earlier in this year is we've identified the need for the ongoing budget adjustments of $1.4 million. And so you'll see that on the next slide about how we're proceeding to do that for 24-25. It's not for this year. We're okay to move forward. And so basically, that would be one of the big changes there. And it's really good that, you know, the district has done that. One of the big changes, you remember from earlier in the presentation, there was another pink box with that cost of living reduction from almost 4% to less than 1%. So anything that districts can do to make adjustments to help minimize the impact of that reduction, if it happens, it's a proposal right now, but if it happens, so this will help keep us on track. And so on this next slide, this is a new page, and what administration working with our school sites and have put together our list of the $1.4 million where it looks like it's headed at this point in time. The board did pass its resolution 232409 that says we'd be coming back with some more detail. And the $1.4 million, it does include staffing, but there's some staffing adjustments at the secondary and elementary level in the special ed program. There is the last two items there, about $116,000 that we can utilize some mental health funds for part of a existing director. So that takes the burden off of the general fund. And then similarly, pursuing direct costs or direct charges that we can charge to other programs like food service and childcare. And in this case, it would be some custodial time. That is very reasonable that when you have your daytime custodian spending quite a bit of time in the multi-purpose rooms and the kitchens, helping keep those places clean. So we passed the board resolution, said we'd come back, and this is the direction that we feel that we're heading, and we've already started in that process.
Thank you.
And the last few slides are a summary that just it reminds us about the importance of keeping that reserve and our trends over the years. And the very last tab has our next steps right after this trend slide. Should be one more. And so once this is approved by the school board, we pass that along. We file it with the Solano County Office of Ed and the California Department of Education. It's March, so we have a couple months before we hear back from the governor in May with his May revise. And that's the information that we use to put our school budget together for the upcoming fiscal year 24-25. So at the end of May, you'll see a draft of our 24-25 budget. And then at the meeting in June, you'll be asked to approve it. And usually that's done before the state actually approves their budget. And so once they approve it at the end of June, we come back in early August to let you know if there was any major changes between the governor's May revise and what was actually adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Sorry. I have one other question. I noticed, I heard you say we're good for this year, and I see that on that cover page. I was looking at next year, and maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself, right? Mark will tell me. I don't know. So I looked at some of the detailed report, and I see just on this cover slide that we're in the hole next year, but that won't account for, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it my understanding correct that these numbers don't yet account for the retirements from this year and associated cost savings?
We will, right, yes. So we will be, as we actually either don't fill positions according to the $1.4 million plan, or we do actual replacements with hiring folks, we can compare that to what the estimate is. And if there are if those savings materialize at that level, we can post that with the end of year report. So it's just a little too early to incorporate that at this point, okay. But yeah, we'll monitor that very closely over the next couple months and have that available available with the estimated actuals.
Okay. And then also just with the deferred maintenance, if the bond is able to cover some of that, that might also make up for any.
It's possible. So when you have a bond and you go after the state matching, what they require you to do is have a 3%, it's called a routine restricted maintenance maintenance account.
Oh.
So even if you do have a bond, they still require you to put that 3% aside. And so I think it would change what you spend that deferred maintenance funding on. You're able to do more with your money because you're not constantly trying to fix broken things or responding to emergencies, which can be more costly. I think you're able to get more value out of your money, but you still have that 3% minimum for routine restricted maintenance.
Okay. And yeah, because based on these numbers, it looks like next year, without the adjustments, looks like we're in the red, but then we come back out of it. So, but I know those are all projections and could change. Oh yeah, based on the COLA. Okay.
Yeah, so I think you bring up a really good point, and as we continue to monitor our actuals to our budget, estimated actuals closer to June, we can come back with updated numbers, and that's when you also have your draft budget to really identify what that position is as a deficit or a break even or a surplus that will take you into 24-25.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Those are great questions, Amy.
Yes.
That's really good. All right, so thank you, Mr. Rahal. So can we get a motion to approve the 23-24 second interim financial report for BUSD?
I move that we approve the 23-24 second interim financial report for BUSD.
Okay, may I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. May I get a roll call, please?
President Seda.
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs. Trustee Moss. Trustee Maselli. And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
All right, our last item of the evening is consideration and approval of the initial sunshine of Benicia Teachers Association and Benicia Unified School District proposal for the 24-25 school year negotiations. And I'm going to ask Dr. Gill to share some information with us. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Dr. Wright, cabinet members, and our BTA members as well. So the district per-education code must publicly disclose negotiation proposals prior to commencing negotiations with BTA. The current collective bargaining agreement between BUSD and BTA requires specific articles to be opened by April 1. And I have my co-partners from BTA, Chief Negotiator Ms. Lisa Delorfis and BTA President Arian Whiting in the audience. I think one of them are going to come forward and share their openers with us. And
Good evening, everyone. This will be much shorter than last year. So the Benicia Teachers Association hereby submits the following initial proposal for reopener bargaining with the Benicia Unified School District. All terms and conditions of the current BTA-BUSD collective bargaining agreement will remain unchanged with the exception of agreements that are reached on the following articles. BTA believes in maintaining a stellar achievement as one of the highest performing districts in California. Therefore, BTA is opening Article 2 wages. And BTA believes in continuing to cultivate a system of social, emotional, and physical wellness for our employees so that they can continually improve practice. Therefore, BTA is opening Article 5, health and welfare. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Delorfis. And likewise, BUSD also proposes to reopen Article 2 wages. The district proposes negotiating wages in order to maintain fiscal solvency while balancing the idea of competitive workforce. Article 5, health and welfare benefits. The district proposes to negotiate health and welfare benefits in order to maintain health benefits for the employees. And district also proposes to open Article 21, which is duration. Anytime we propose and we meet and we negotiate, it changes the duration of the contract, and so that we can open article in the future years. And we look forward to meeting and having a very successful and happy, fun, maybe 25 minutes negotiation this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of the trustees have any questions regarding this? No? Okay, thanks for being here, you guys. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I get a motion on the initial sunshine of the BTA and BUSD for the 24-25 school year?
I move that we approve the initial sunshine of BTA and BUSD for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Yes.
Trustee Moss?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Thank you, and that brings us to the end of our meeting. Our next meeting is April 18th, and I hope everybody has a good spring break, or, right? That's coming up. So enjoy your time. Thank you for people at home that are watching, and appreciate those that showed up today. Thank you.